the first to know. Nsem-Pii TV.
Bloomberg for a release a report for Ghana cedi ho say the worst performing currency globally as at now. Now you better into the entire Bloomberg for a releases a report statement bank manager of one of the commercial banks waka and a statement from the Bank of Ghana. Now at the Nkrofo betima wonder ne say eba saying na Ghana the same Bloomberg, the same IMF, the same World Bank ebeka say the best performing currency cedi the best performing currency in the first and second quarter of 2025. Now you call the final quarter, the fourth quarter of 2025 that same year cedi ebe the worst performing currency in the world. Now you be call into that report. You be kaya with the launch of gold board or gold purchasing agreement and say there was the innovation of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the then vice president, at the latter stages of Omo governance. The deputy governor of the Republic of Ghana, recent appointee of President John Dramani Mahama, be confirming with London, say that interventions and abwa and apija the Bank of Ghana gold reserves, apija the Bank of Ghana dollar reserves, because almost top gold with Ghana cedis na abwa ama increasing from nearly $6 billion to $11.1 billion. In the say reserves there, you were enough reserves in the Bank of Ghana. And no, sa reportage na APP Moon plus other reports from the World Bank, from the IMF, from Fitch, from Bloomberg now suggested say Ghana cedi the best performing currency with gains of averaging around 50% against the dollar. Emani hover around 10 Ghana cedis at a point in time. But a net reporter the PM say Bloomberg say the cedi the worst performing currency. Now during that time na cedi performing hugely. And a World Bank did another report by said the Bank of Ghana omunjai say omo artificially manipulated the Ghana cedi. Now omun allow natural demand and supply forces one omo per dollars edi akwa kra niema one omo yeden omo transfer dollars no on China the natural demand and supply forces in the market and determine the true value of the cedi instead of omo ankasa omo intervening, because omo ankasa pump dollars into the system. And another report by from the ISD by say the Bank of Ghana are pumping nearly $4 billion into the system, artificially manipulating said dollar na ebechina preoccupy be a certain range move away from that range between 10 cedi and 12 cedi. A statement by President Mahama Flagstaff House and Jubilee House confirming this assertion. And then Bloomberg I released the report say Bank of Ghana saw interventions no way you film and the true value of the Ghana cedi almost say is the worst performing currency in the world. Now what are the reasons a DNT and the cedi the worst performing currency? Yanko into this report by the Bloomberg and they are released nearly 1 hour ago. Now say surge in demand for dollars by companies paying for imports has ended the Ghana cedi's recent strong performance, according to Bloomberg. Statement by certain suppliers during President Mahama governance just said contracts money are buying work road contractors in the payments in Koso. Commercial banks demand for dollars for transactions, importers abuso kind spare parts, one or more craft fish, one more craft chicken, and a tina pane de kekaka hono. Ninan omuko requested for dollars to munya through the commercial banks, because commercial banks for at the request to Bank of Ghana and release dollars. Now after the September, October, November, December, Christmas na no. Oma who said so Oma release these kinds of dollars and yeah Christmas in Crawford ebetimi ediga in the Republic of Ghana and Yama and back into the system. In say even half of the request by commercial banks and a Bank of Ghana for a release year and no and a rush in demand for dollars na kwa ama cedi the worst performing currency in this market range. Now obviously a setback comes from less than 5 months after Bloomberg named the cedi as the best performing currency in April, following 16% gain against the US dollar since the start of the year. That rally helped ease inflationary pressures, pushing consumer inflation down to 21.2%, lowest in 8 months at the time. At the time, even inflation go to nearly 40%, nearing 50%, but that one be 21.2%, the lowest in 8 months. But now, because of Bank of Ghana, it decided to meet the request of commercial banks for dollars or more crack and near for Christmas, and then cause pressure on the cedi to dollar transaction. Amano abe the worst performing currency in this window of measurement. Now, countries or more measure or more losses are Ethiopian bear lose 4.1%, Chilean peso lose 4.3%, Dominican Republic peso lose 5.6%, Botswana pula lose 7.1% in the same measurement, Argentinian peso lose 11.5%, and a Ghanaian cedi lose 13.4% in this window. Inti losses are akoso in this window. Ghanaian cedi and lead with the losses of 13.4%. In spite of this, the year-to-date gain losses against Niboma cedi are gaining 23% from the beginning of this year till now. Inti uyi minuses from a year-to-date na still no cedi a positive gain against the dollar, with Bank of Ghana still almost registered reserves of $11.1 billion. The Bloomberg report on release and then the Bank of Ghana almost responses are regarding this Bloomberg response. Now, Deputy Commercial Manager from UMB, a statement said even request that Bank of Ghana no more than 50% pay and a Bank of Ghana for a grantee year for one person makra and yema eba Ghana. Now so with all these things air cost 50% granting and ama cedi no lose 13.4%. So you can imagine say almost decided so granting all the requests of one person makra and yema eba into the system cedi no na ho de no enjina bibia ese edi ejina. Bobo, Member of Parliament for Second D, Andrew Mesa, Kasai, some of the interventions the government of Ghana now, on person releases the suppliers, and then some of the comments on government contractor affected the performance of the city. Or Kasai, only PCFM for a D in common. Yanko Chia in common so.
Oh, just some men come back. Picture waiting for the pay. Kaka waiting for was it me? Now, Bobo, see, the 8th wonder of the world were Ghana. I know it ain't. Yeah, 8th wonder. No idea here. Because I am one. There, among pain be a Nkano. Okaji loan 200 million. Though the base 5,000 housing units. Sagami. Okotubori asino 1,500 houses cry we. Sagami dey na okanyana. The 200 million in na so osen. Na eneda the moment paying chrono osi on tasi. There aban akobo bosa 200 million dot the bay road. Asam require no ko. Them are saying suture me. Na 200 million no asa. The road no way. Real. Na se na no. Na nya say simian so enye. Omni na me so ye one. Osande investigation got all start with Nankasana. What's a physician? You are heal thyself. And I start with wow. No, be who they a good intention be in see in the air them so-called investigation. But married fact check Ghana full. What fact check any the statement are on paying your Mahama or Mekino. And the pay also Minister Mamunia Bantamas as watch it, so he didn't come out. And the issue statement timelessly. President Mahama Kese na we near 1 hour mpo no respond. Dam na hwehwe ma ewona we di minister for why you do my previous abandon what can some to abandon no nya no kwara immediately na wabo abechi. Project cost 346 million. Or then I 200 million or total project loan akaji. Now government of Ghana no on your project BR. On finance project BR. So Bobosa Krana on provide the counterpart funding BR.
And are you saying say BBC anywhere a whole president na onim enko beka?
Ebi anonymous ministers won briefing.
Oh yeah sure.
Oh na intima sense okay na tia.
Mete but say bija na ono so hu bibia bia yesu ehu.
Watch your handing over note too. And I will copy.
There be one man copy.
We do social media. Finance committee report our social media. 2022 budget statement Honorable Ken Oforiato ready or outlining the items what the dam Afrexim loan of 750 million Nina is public document. But I Osande the more catch him bring or best no kono Ghana full according to him you was short memory. And see ojo bia ni we free ne aban wa best no ko e wudi a we di Ghana. And see he can come and create a certain impression, a erroneous impression, but distort the facts. What to hear Ghana for name? The Akufo-Addo Naban okaje bosa 200 million. Sikanasa project no way. Is that true? On it's a catch of the 8th wonder of the world in President Mahama. Mama amambuno ewa yama yesuya from previous experiences now on guide the end part going forward. Because I had no bia banobogu no predecessor no hufi oba banum words that he is used to describe Akufo-Addo Naban. It's an economy that was criminally managed. And there, what's the umbrella say? Was on there, I wonder why magic in 8 months. For economists to be any economist that you know, maybe send there a criminally managed economy about to transform in 8 months. Why? But they say it. To what end?
Anyway,
it's the IMF Baka, Fitch Baka, Moody's Baka, ratings agencies were Baka. The difficult decisions are Omampena Akufo-Addo Naban Oteki or impacting Kofi P. Wanabrabo in restructuring and debt. And albatross around yen as a country post COVID. That's something that you would tell because that's the fact. COVID about compounding and already existing problems. We had problems. We had issues that Abana had to borrow to deal with, failing which are nobody could have imagined. So Nana Akufo-Addo about Benmosa, well, the Sumels and the ECG is unable to generate sufficient enough revenue to pay its bills in the end of Suma. What would have been the impact on the economy? We saw the results. Average 7% growth in the NGDP. Of course, it was a problem. Okada banks don't pay scam fen yet. I would do ska to Obiano ha. Wala sama. What would have been the consequences? Nana? But he had to deal with it. Because that's what responsible governments do.
Someone managing to do.
Banks don't or managing to do or have a condo. Or managing to do have a condo. When check the World Bank asset quality assessment that they had done during Mr. Mohammed's first term. Okay, that 8 banks were at the risk of collapse. One solution was to give liquidity support that people squandered as if they were not tomorrow. Public funds were did the graffiti. People forget. I mean, short memory association of Ghana. My do not the war clear. So when COVID came, Nsem-Pii Akufo-Addo told us that look, the decisions that I'm going to take will have economic consequences. But post that, what were the solutions? Created huge difficulty for the government. Decisions to restructure any debt, not Akufo-Addo's debt, Ghana's debt, including those who have been contracted from Kwame Nkrumah's time, HIPIC, Obama Relief Kakra, all of it. No benefit. And then there was the magicians. I want to look at a magic one about sorting economic problems. They are the ones who are benefiting from it. But it's good because it's Ghana. I never wish for Mr. Mohammed's government to fail. Never. Fail then. Failure. I mean, now we know the whole bet him. Sabi we eko goma one bisa da MPP card one. But we can't be truthful and honest. We can't. We cannot. So you describe your predecessor in terms. When you know that the gold purchase program is what you are relying on to show up the city artificially. And there, on pants and con. I don't wish for the city to depreciate, and the Bank of Ghana better act. Suppliers ground from January. I wonder why a government contract. I want you to be alcohol. Want you to be from January till now. None. Is that how to manage an economy? And you go and stand there. There'll be at 200 million. Walk up a bus road, road, Scanasa, road. Is it true? Mpede present who didn't contumbo. I mean, Adam, on Bobia won't help anybody. So if you have to pay 75 million and the additional sums of money that all your government responsibility to pay so the contractor can feed the road, an important economic road, fix it. We focus on the Chief Justice cedi. We focus on paying. We focus.
Me bounce is here.
Ache.
Someone na woman menka. Ona mama menko ye.
Aslo mogi.
Ona mama menko ye.
We focus.
Doctor Zandra.
We go a electoral commission. That's how you get one.
Meba. Doctor Zandra. Me pesa me no kwa kwetia ho.
Yeah.
Ti se ye free akwetia ba. Na no ka se mbi kire me dem a o se enka wo benya.
Yeah.
Nsem-Pii John Dramani Mahama Chief Justice asemu yi omana mpare no chede abetena na boboa no waje edwa otene chamber ho self contain mu kama etio but mbese briefly famiko akwatia bra na okwa akwatia ba metie bobo so ewo akwatia then Nafi Yaba Chief Justice and matters arising. Akwetia.
Yo, nana amidase ma menchia etiefo. Ye din komo ha. Na yaka say ye kwa koto aba. Unfortunately na MP na also no. Wa free no na enhihye mu no necessary koto aba na yi nipa obedi na de. Ntinka kire wadwen na menkyere ma adwen kaboko. Yehu ama horo so omo ayeye kusua fi omo ho na yesi democracy no. Sane omo ye omo niema. Ti saade anka yenso yenhwe na yenye ne saa ho pepepe. Ko man bi so no omo ye campaign na nipa mienu pe enye crowd nipa mienu na omo gina ho. Na omo sa di nkomo so omo krokura liveless nketenkete timi bisa nipa na yekoso ye no university rep no. Na we see na we mu don omo ye ho omo ton niema na so omo ye campaign no. Na say na sa na ha mo ye campaign o so campaign na no mo ye no. Omo gina ho na edi nkomo. Maka o happen me say ukupra obi enamoso obi ewu enamoso obi anya permanent disability na wonya tumia sebe mfaso bempa na obenya woso ono edi enkan no mpani no omonya atamfo nyame ma dom media me no omo nenam abrebia omo hia di nkomo sere edidi bom obi ampo nsuro sebe obi betu ya ne nyonko bone so edu abato a na ye ho se ya atamfo an se obi beso behwe ni nuanim adan ye petumi tumi ne ye de ayeden ye de abeso mo mamba meti asem bi ma mani anje ye se yakomi honorable du ba bi na ne nje mo kan